So let's go ahead. Ron, would you care to give the invocation for us?
All right. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for your love and your mercy to us. We thank you for America. We thank you for the privilege of living in this wonderful country. We pray that you would guide and direct our thoughts, our actions, and our steps, that it would be pleasing, Lord, to thee in all that we do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Let's all stand, and Frank Tucker is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated. Yeah. The minutes of the last meeting, which was over at the lodge, were distributed electronically. We did have a good response. We've got a number of people who we haven't seen for a while who've renewed their membership. And I think we're up to around 65 total members now. I found your check in the mailbox yesterday. Thank you. And thank you for renewing, Ann. The alley has the treasurer's report.
Okay, right now, as of today, we have $6,179.66. I have everything broken down, like new membership, checks that we've written. Does anybody want any of this information? Anybody want to know anything? Like where our money went, how it was spent, any of that? Okay,
I have a question.
okay.
If we wanted to contact a new member for some reason, would this be okay to send it to us by email, the list of members and the phone numbers?
We've
Like a
got
little-
we've got a lot of these. You can take them and give them to
No, they're
anybody.
wanting other members' numbers.
That's
Am I
supposed to
correct?
be provided by the secretary, I think.
Yeah, if you actually, do I have your email address?
You should.
What's your name?
Jerry Lawfer. Jerry
Okay,
Lawfer.
yeah, I can send it to you if you'd like me to. Is there anybody that doesn't want their information given out?
You've
Nobody?
got my number, I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will send it to you first thing in the morning, or I might be able to
There
send
might
it
be
to
a
you.
new member that I didn't know was a member. I'd like to say hello to them.
Yeah.
Invite them to come.
All the new members we try to give to Faye and get it put in. But yeah, I will send you an up-to-date list.
And along that line, Allie and Sue and Faye and I spent a couple of hours a couple of weeks ago looking through all our membership lists and contacting people. And we found one who didn't want to be on the list anymore, but we got them straightened out. Mary finally got your all straightened out. We didn't know that Robert Hamilton was your son. So,
They
We
confused
got-
us.
and
Oh my-
Robert Little was your husband, so we got them straightened out finally. But everybody that's a member, if you're a couple, like Ron and Janie Kirk will be listed as a member. And then the next person down likely will be Ron Kirk is listed as a member. So everybody's phone numbers and email addresses will be there. Some of it means some of you are going to get duplicate emails from us about meetings and such.
Jerry.
And the old business from the state fair booth, we did pretty well on the fair. I think we broke even because we had about $1,300 in contributions there.
I'll email them to you.
But Kelly
Send me a copy.
Collins, who's the director of the fair, told me at a dinner here recently that the fair is thinking about banning the political affiliations from the fair in the future. Evidently, there was some of the members of that worked in the Democrat booth felt threatened that people had said ugly things to them, but that's what you get when you give away condoms and morning after pills at the West Virginia State Fair.
Oh, gosh.
But we didn't run and tell on them for walking by, flipping us off and calling us names. Now, did
But-
anybody say anything? No.
But the only complaint about our booth was the one I made to her, because for the second year in a row, they put the biggest quilt in front of our booth, and the tag from it hung down and obscured our booth. So, but they're talking about it, and I
Accidents.
do what?
Accidentals.
2 years in a row it accidental, yeah.
Wow. That's
But
terrible.
Kelly's notion is that people should just come and enjoy the fair, not worry about political things. It makes it easier for us because we struggle to have two people there at all of them, and Brent's really worked hard on it. And I don't know what happened to Brent's tonight. The several of our members had other things that were obligations. Faye had to go to North Carolina to look after her sister. So, but we've got the brochures, and we want to thank the County Executive Committee for letting us use their space here. We hope in January by January meeting to find ourselves a permanent space to meet in. There comes our candidate from.
That's right over there.
All right. I'm Mark. I'm Doug McKinney, and this is Ally McLeod. She's our treasurer. Good to see you.
Nice to meet you. Pleasure.
We just completed our treasurer's report, so you're on.
Okay. All right. How long you want me to talk?
We'll give you
Don't
30
step
minutes to
back.
talk about what the auditor's office does, because most of us don't know.
Okay.
And you can tell us about your experience in that office
Step back.
and your educational background and why you want to be the auditor.
Okay. Where you want me to
Sit here if you
All
want
right.
to, or you can stand down. Whatever.
My name is Mark Hunt, and it's an honor and pleasure to be down here tonight. Doug invited me. He's been called a couple of weeks. We've been trying to get it together here. I'm a state senator from Kanawha. I represent Kanawha, Putnam, Jackson, Rome, and Clay in the state senate, and I before that was a state delegate representing a portion of Kanawha, which I served 16 years in the House, and I've been in the Senate for 2 years. And I see some faces I know here. As a matter of fact, I worked for years with, I don't know if you guys know the Freeman family. You know, isn't he? I worked for years for a guy named George Freeman, has a beard. Before I was elected legislature, I was
White Sulphur.
like Sulphur, yeah. But his dad was a retired room service. But we both worked for the legislature back in the 80s. Dear friend of mine, so I used to come down and visit George and the people. But anyway, I'm married to the same woman for 25 years. Had 3 children, all boys. My youngest son's at Marshall, so about ready to move, I get a smaller house. But as far as the auditor's office, the auditor really has his fingers in everything. The auditor is not only the auditor, but he's also a member of the Board of Public Works. So the auditor sits on committees with the treasurer and the governor, and they make decisions as to how to spend the state's money, what programs to fund, what programs should be funded, grants, aids, etc. The auditor that's really a misnomer, the word auditor. The auditor is an administrator. The auditor's office has about 214 employees, and it has 4 or 5 different divisions. Only one of those divisions is actually audited. So the auditor is actually a public administrator. He administers the office, and I happen to have a master's degree in public administration, so that's my background. But the auditor is a public administrator. The auditor also keeps the state's checkbook, and the state's checkbook is online, part of the transparent checkbook. You can log in and see the day-to-day transactions that the state makes. The auditor writes all the checks and signs all the checks, or not, and whether the auditor likes you or not. But occasionally you get that checkbook, you'll see $1 million check come through, or $2 million check come through. That's pretty interesting stuff. But it's my understanding that every town and entity is on board except Bridgeport. And I think we need to get Bridgeport on board, and that's the only person that's not using the transparent checkbook. So the auditor does keep the state's checkbook. The auditor is also the commissioner of securities. So every security offering in the state of West Virginia, whether it be through the big houses, Prudential, or whatever, they all go through the auditor's office for approval. The offerings are quite thick. They're thicker than this notebook here, of what they're going to offer our citizens as investments. The auditor approves or denies all securities. One of the things I want to do is do a better job with securities. Previous auditors really haven't done much with that. I think we could produce an AI program, artificial intelligence, that'll read these documents that are that thick and look for keywords that are fraud words, and then put real eyes on them. Because what you have now is, you have 40 of these documents that comes in, you just don't have the manpower to read them. And you've got a big name on a company like Prudential, you think it's okay. It may not be okay. And those are the people that take advantage of our centers. And that's not where we want to be. This auditor's going to do better.
I'm totally and completely ignorant about what you're talking about.
Well,
I don't know what you mean by this subject.
let's say ABC company wants to sell stock in West Virginia in their clean energy program.
What-
The auditor either has to approve that offering or deny that offering.
And that's offering to the public or to the state?
It's been offering to anybody, the state, individuals, corporations.
Okay.
And the auditor either denies or approves those offerings. And 9 times out of 10, the auditor, 99 times out of 100, he approves them because it's just rubber stamped.
But
And-
isn't every office in West Virginia, as far as the AG's office, the agricultural, aren't they all having the difficulty of low manpower and not enough people to actually enforce?
Well, I mean, that's a problem everywhere, but we're going to do better and we could do better. Let me get to that if it's okay.
Okay.
But we could do better with what we have. And one of the ways we could do better is get a good AI program to read these. And then when those keywords come up, those fraudulent words that everyone knows are fraudulent words, we could have people hone in on that and say, no, Prudential, and not picking on Prudential, it may not be Prudential. Prudential, that's not what we want to do. So, and we're not doing any of that right now. We're not doing any of that.
I'm just saying it like with the agricultural commissioner, with the kratos. They have an approved list of kratos products that they're allowed to have in the state of West Virginia.
Mhm.
Well, if you go into every, little store that sells kratom and hemp and all that other stuff, you're seeing products that are not. But when they're submitting their applications, they're saying, oh, they're only selling X, Y, Z.
Well, one of the advantages that I have being a state senator, and right now, I'm going to be voting on the next Senate president. I have the ability, and I have a honeymoon period for a couple of years. I don't know how long it'll last, at least a couple of years, so that I could probably get about anything I wanted passed, and I can also get supplemental appropriations for the auditor's office. Now, I don't know that Kent Landhart is in that position, because what happens, and we're not picking on Kent, but what happens is he's been out of the legislature now so long that the legislature has turned over, and they really don't know him. I mean, they know the job he does, which is a good job, but they may not be willing to give him a $3.5 million appropriation. Whereas I think they'll give that to me. If I can show if they give me $3 million, I'll make them 15. And we have a real problem area in the auditor's office where we can do that. Another thing the auditor does is he sells delinquent land. So property that has become delinquent for taxes, the auditor sells. Now, we go through quite a rigorous duty to make sure that the homeowner has the opportunity to redeem their property. Sometimes the redemption is with interest, but it's about a 3-year process before a person actually loses their property to taxes. County commissions are very interested in this because what happens is that tax money is used to build school systems. So they need those properties to go back on the book. 9 times out of 10, these are properties where there's no one left in the family. There's just nobody left. So the property needs to be sold and put back on the taxes. The auditor right now, the employees, as you mentioned, there's not enough employees to really do the job. And the reason why is because this property used to be sold by the 55 sheriffs. Okay? The legislature, in its wisdom, decided that there was too much corruption with the 55 sheriffs. And it would be better if the property were all sold by the state auditor. The way it used to be was the sheriff sold the property first. Then whatever was left over and didn't sell, the auditor would sell. So the auditor's duty as to the Lincoln property has gone from 0 to 60 without any additional manpower.
Why does it have to be 3 years? Because I feel like that's too long. People buy it because they want it. There's someone in my town right now that keeps advertising that these people have so long to pay it before they can get it because they bought it on auction. And now you're saying you might have to wait. Why so long?
The easy answer is because that's what the statute says.
Yeah.
That's what the law says.
So
That's the quick answer, okay? And that's something we can look at, but we want to make sure that every individual keeps their property, that can possibly keep their property. But at some point, enough is enough, and it has to go back on the tax rolls. So anyway, the auditor's gone from 0 to 60 in this job without any additional help. So he's about 1.5 years behind on doing deeds and collections and even redemptions. There's about $500,000 worth of money that needs to be given back to people who have actually come in before the time lapsed and redeemed the property.
What percentage of this delinquent property is mineral property?
A lot of it is.
That's
I
what I was gonna say, because people are out of town or,
don't care.
in some cases.
Yeah. A lot of it is absentee owners. A lot of these mineral rights are under creek beds and rivers. And really, the landowner has become delinquent for lots of reasons. One, they don't know they even own it. Two, there's been several folks or several lines of folks who have passed away, and they don't know, the heirs don't know they own it. And the biggest situation is 25 people own it because it's in an estate. And 25 people own a half an interest.
Well, that's the
Of a
biggest
half a-
hang up to
a ha-
drilling
yeah.
a well.
Of a half an interest,
Tracy.
of a half a share.
Yeah.
25 people own
Yeah.
that. And the auditor, nobody, who wants to buy
Yeah.
that? I mean, nobody wants it.
Yeah,
Those properties will eventually achieve to the state,
yeah.
eventually. Because the property I just described, nobody's going to buy. And nobody's going to pay taxes.
Yeah.
$12.50 a year, whatever it is, they're not going to do it. So it'll eventually, the state will eventually get ownership, by eminent domain.
Yeah.
Will eventually get ownership of that property I just described. So the auditor, in addition to securities and in addition to writing checks, the auditor audits. The auditor audits all state and governmental entities to make sure that your money is being spent the way that the state code says it should be spent. It's a big job. There has been a lot of issues in some of the county school boards, not particularly in this part of the state, but in the central northern part of the state. County school boards have had problems, and there has been some problems and misuse with some of the COVID funded monies and with the CARES money. So CARES Act money. So those are big areas that the auditor has to look into. And frankly, the auditor right now doesn't have enough staff to do it, and what the auditor is doing is they contracted out to big CPA firms. So the big CPA firms are doing a lot of the work as private entities, and then the auditor does what he can here.
And how much is that costing the state?
Well, according to J.B. McCuskey, our auditor, he would tell you the state's saving money. I think it's better done in-house with control of the auditor. And those are things that I'm not going to be able to answer until I'm there. But I think J.B. would tell you that his program of subcontracting it out to private auditors is the better way to do it. JB, the office when Glenn Gaynor left had 214 employees. The office now has about 75. So it's very difficult to do the work that needs to be done. One of the things that I wanted to bring up is the legislature about 6 years ago passed a bill that there will be no sanctuary cities in West Virginia.
Hallelujah.
Yes,
Thank
amen.
God.
There will be no sanctuary cities, and we will accept no illegal aliens and provide in no way that they can work here, vote here, etc. here. So,
Really?
yes, we did that about
We have a
six.
lot of them here.
We did that about 6 years ago.
They're here.
But
They're
one,
here. We do.
we But when this campaign in the spring, I went to El Paso. I actually went to the wall where the border wall is. And folks, I tell you, if you've never been there, it's a horrible place. It's desert, first of all.
Report aborted.
But you look over across that wall, and what you see and what I saw were flat top houses with men with machine guns on them, walking around. And those people are the cartels with the fentanyl. And I tell you, it's really like looking into the gates of hell. And what they're doing is they're throwing that fentanyl over the wall. There's slats between the wall. They're putting the fentanyl between the wall, and they're getting it into the United States, even though there is a wall there. Well, one thing for sure is this auditor will not write any check or pay any voucher that enhances or proves anything. And we will certainly write no check. And frankly, if I don't write a check, it's not coming. I mean, the auditor has a checkbook. The auditor, like I say, his fingers is literally in everything. Any check written, the auditor has to write. Marshall got a $2 million stadium that was paid for out of the COVID relief money.
Oh my.
I'm a Marshall grad. I'm glad Marshall got a new baseball stadium. I wouldn't have signed a check. Because I just don't think it was. If the legislature would have appropriated that money for Marshall's new baseball stadium, hallelujah. We sign a check and we'll deliver it to the president of Marshall. But those are things that we really have to get a handle on. And a lot of it has to do with your first question, the manpower. It's just to understand. There's not enough eyes on these transactions. So that is something that I have to do. Another thing I heard the other day, I went to a big dinner that was held in Charleston. It was called Republican Victory Celebration. And I went to that, and one of the statewide candidates was talking about, well, he was asked how he was doing in the election. And he said, I'll be fine. I thought to myself, you know when I'll be fine? I'll be fine.
Midnight, November.
Right. I'll be fine when everybody in this room calls their relatives and friends in Pennsylvania and tells them to vote for President Trump.
Yeah.
I'll be fine when President Trump is reelected president and our democracy is saved. I'll be fine when everybody in this room calls their friends, relatives, and talks to their spouse. We got to vote on election day. And not only do we have to vote red up and down the ticket to save our democracy. And then I personally will be fine. The last vote's counted. I'll be fine. But I'm not fine right now. And I'm not going to tell you I'm fine. Because there's work that we all have to do to win not only this race, but every race up and down the ballot. And like I say, these battleground states like Pennsylvania, I don't know who's going to win that state. I really don't. But if any of you have relatives there, call them. Tell them what they ought to do, what they should do, or at least what they ought to think about doing. So that's my pitch. It's hard to make the office of auditor real sexy because it's not like governor. Let's face it. Maybe the job I have now as state senator is more glamorous than
You don't have a dog?
being the auditor. But I don't have a checkbook, and I don't have a dog as a state senator either. But yeah, question, yes, sir.
Who's in charge of the billions of dollars that the state has in an investment pool for retirement and all that other stuff?
That'd be the treasurer.
That's the treasurer's also.
Treasurer has a whole investment division.
I want to make sure.
However, as you know, after the problems that we had with A. James Mansion
Oh, I do remember
and the
that.
money that was lost, there's a number of checks and balances on that. So
Good.
no one entity, not even the treasurer's office, can keep churning that money the way they do.
Good.
They tried to churn that money to make money.
Yeah.
And they ended up getting into a vicious cycle whereby they had lost hundreds of
Hundreds
millions
of
of dollars,
millions,
right? And there was no coming back. It's like the gambler, you lose a $50 bet, so let me bet 100 tomorrow night. Well, you lose that, well, let me bet 200 tomorrow night, you lose that. Well,
Called the catch-up game.
you never get caught up.
Never
So it's working again.
What percentage of the gambling money goes to education?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. I don't know the answer.
It's
but-
online. They actually have a basic flow chart that shows how much go to senior citizens, how much goes to the school system, how much goes back into the communities. It will actually show you, and it will actually break it down community or county by county.
Huh.
And you can also get that information from City Hall or any of those places. The clerk's
And where does
office.
the rest of it go?
Seniors get some.
Well, they do promoting also. Like, they have the West Virginia Lottery building at the fair. So they have to buy, and then plus they have employees, they have inspectors that go out and inspect all the lottery locations. They have 24-hour-a-day security, they have 24-hour-a-day tech service. So they have cost also.
But seniors get some, and so do veterans.
Yeah, a lot of it, a big percentage of the lottery from West Virginia goes back into the community. It goes back into the schools, and it will actually show you month to month exactly what the revenue was and how much went to each county.
So if I play Wild Wolf, I don't have to be totally guilty.
No, seriously, if you guys seriously look at it, get on the
Whatever
website
it is.
and look at it, you would see that, gambling's not all bad, and I'm not saying that just because I worked in a lottery place.
Yeah,
But I'm saying it does help our state out tremendously.
but that's what I understand.
And it's not,
The casino money and the racetrack money
all
going
of
to the
it.
state. It's
Yeah.
All of
besides,
it.
besides lottery tickets.
All
And,
of
and then the auditor spends it.
And then he spends it,
And the
yes.
auditor spends it. By the way, y'all must have a lot of money to save. Save like
It was
that.
a pharmacy.
Oh, is that right?
The drugs are in there.
Opioids. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Who balances you? Who checks you?
Ah,
Well,
To make sure you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be
well,
mean, I'm just curious.
everything has an easy answer. The easy
Okay.
answer is the voters. Every 4 years you can throw somebody out
Okay.
if you don't like what they're doing. But the answer is that I tell you, the auditor is pretty autonomous,
Okay.
and the auditor also has a lot of power.
Okay.
The auditor has the power to write a check or not to write a check, and that's a tremendous amount of
yeah,
power.
that's a big deal.
You got to be careful who your auditor is. A lot of people think, oh, the auditor. What the heck? Now, I'm running against a lady who calls herself a socialist. Is that who you want as your auditor? So, that's what I'm up against. Now, I don't think she has much of a chance. I don't know. I don't think so. I
Not
think
in this
it's pretty
room.
much of a red state
Not in this room.
in a Trump year, too. But the auditor has a lot of autonomy.
Boy,
I guess the FBI, if there was a complaint, someone could call the FBI in, but, and I guess maybe that would
That's
probably,
Hide the handcuffs.
probably that complaint would come through the Attorney General's office. But the auditor's way up there when it comes to spending your money.
the auditor also audits the things like the bank accounts and the retirement accounts of the Supreme Court.
That's right. Auditor audits every governmental function and of every governmental entity.
Wow.
And how
State and local, and city too.
That's what I was going to ask you about, the city and the local. Do you
Yeah.
do that just as a routine or only if
There was a
somebody
schedule.
requests it?
There was a schedule, and then if there's a blatant problem, yes.
But does that go
Jeff
for
Bob Baker got
municipalities?
caught at a bad time up in Richwood, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
When he was mayor. He
Yeah,
went to jail for that.
He did. But there is a schedule, and these people don't get audited every year. But there is a schedule, but if there's a complaint, then it would be the greasy, what is it, the squeaky wheel is the grease.
Yeah.
Squeaky wheel, this
It's
is
the grease. Anybody else, anything else?
Well, our West Virginia's book's pretty well balanced.
Yeah, well, we have a flat budget. The legislature has presented the governor and continues to maintain a flat balanced budget. The question for the special session that we had just on Monday was, are we going to be able to reduce state income taxes another 5%?
Mhm.
And the answer is no. We're
I
not.
think that would be so helpful because I think you'd have a lot of people repatriate.
But we can't, at this point, we've reduced it about 15%. But at this point, we can't see, the legislature can't see, there's not enough money on the books. For instance, the spends is gonna put us at about, now don't forget, we got the rainy day fund, we got money saved. Okay, so let's, there's about $1 billion in the rainy day fund. And there's about $500 million in savings in other funds. So when we spend down, when the legislature spends down to 50 million, or even, we plan on spending down to about 20 million on Sunday. So when we spend down to about $20 million, don't forget, that's not all we have. We know, first of all, we have revenue projections of revenue coming in and revenue estimates of what's coming in. But we also know that we basically have about $1.5 billion, more than almost any other states, including the big states like California has.
And you
Our
can't
rainy
do
day
a
fund is like
strategic
broken.
oil drain on it.
No, our rainy day fund is one of 2 or 3 in the country. And of course, it's growing, and it's growing interest every day too. It's invested, under certain parameters, but it's invested too. But I just tell you, the bad news is it doesn't look like we're gonna be able to do another 5%. There's some automatic triggers in the bill we passed last year that when the state has so much extra money that there's an automatic trigger and it goes down based on that trigger. We're not gonna hit that trigger. And if we do hit that trigger, there is a real fear that we're gonna have to go back and raise. And that's the last thing. It's better not to take and give another tax break if in a year or two we've got to go back and instead of the 15%, we've got to reduce it to 12 and put a 3% tax increase back on. So that's the last thing the legislature wants to do. So I don't think we're going to lower it.
We already give a tax break on your Social Security. I think a lot of people don't know that.
You do, and also of course you have the homestead exemption.
Yeah.
But
It doubled last year or 2 years ago, didn't it?
West Virginia's taxes, even though we rank 48.9, 50 in the year, 50 in the country, we're in the middle on what we charge in taxes. States like Florida who have no income tax, they push taxes another way. You pay it. Like in Florida, every time you renew your license to play with your car, it's $100. Here's 35. So I mean, in Ohio, it's only 10. But these states who don't have income taxes, they push it. There's fees, and they push it everywhere else. One of the good things that Florida has done, which I don't think we have to do, but Florida has pushed the taxes on non-Floridians. In other words, a lot of non-Floridians end up paying their taxes. The people that just stay down there for the winter and things like that. If we could get smart enough to do things like that. Now, that's one of the reasons that the legislature hates to put a moratorium on the gasoline tax, because most of the gasoline tax is not paid by West Virginians. Most of the gasoline tax is paid by over-the-road truckers and people coming through our state. Now, don't get me wrong. All of us in here pay gas tax. All of us do. But the majority of the money that comes in from that gas tax is paid by non-West Virginians. So, you hate, you lowered 20 cents, what is it, 55 cents, I think. You lowered 20 cents, and we all feel good about it. But, do you really want to lower 20 cents for the guy who's driving through with the 18 wheel and tearing up our roads to boot? I don't know. So that's something that we always fight with. Yes, sir, in the back, could you go?
Yes, what's the real difference between the state auditor's office and the state treasurer's office?
Well, the treasurer, the simple answer, once again, the treasurer has the money and the auditor spends it. So it would be like in
Just
your,
like marriage.
in your house. Let's say you have a pot of money, but your wife can't write a check. Only you can write a check. That's the state. The treasurer has the pot of money, and he's the guy who invests the pot of money. But the auditor is the guy who spends the pot of money. So you got to be careful with your auditor.
The treasurer at the state fairs, the treasurer's office, the unclaimed merchandise.
Yeah.
They have all this assets, money, properties and stuff.
You know what happens? That stuff, as you know, after so many years, it cheats to the state. So, John Perdue was the guy who did that. I mean, he made a big push that rather than just let this stuff sit here for long enough for it just to become state property, let's try to give it back to people that are the rightful owners. And that has continued. Riley Moore has continued that, and I'm sure the new guy, Larry Pike, who will be treasurer because he's unopposed, I'm sure he'll continue that process.
Good.
John Perdue was one of the big pushes. Was he thought that too many people's life insurance policies were not paid off, that the insurance companies didn't pursue beneficiaries.
Yeah, so shot.
Beneficiary had to pursue the life insurance.
I guarantee it.
Shot.
I guarantee it.
Can't pursue.
Anybody
That was
else?
a big push.
I'd rather answer questions than tell stories, fish stories.
I've got a question I'm sure everybody wants to know is, you got elected to the legislature as a Democrat.
Yeah.
And you changed parties, while you were in the House, is that right?
No, I was at home, but.
Okay.
Well, I was born into a Democrat
Well,
family.
you were a member of the House.
Yeah,
You were born into a middle-class family.
I was born into a middle-class Democrat family. Everybody I knew, everybody I knew or knew anything about, they were Democrats. And when I registered to vote when I was 18 in 1978, when I registered to vote, I registered as a Democrat. But there became a time, friends, when I tell you, the parties of the policies of the Democratic Party have gone so left, like their stand on abortion, like their stand on guns. They became so far to the left that I became very unpopular because I've always voted the way I voted. And my voting record has always been what it's always been. I've always supported working families, but I've also supported immigrants. I've always supported life. I've always supported those core issues that the Republicans hold dear. And there was a time, and let's be honest, there was a time when those were also the issues of the Democrats.
Absolutely.
There was a time when those were the issues of people like JFK and Lyndon Johnson. There was a time when those were their issues, but those are no longer their issues. And this idea of killing a baby after birth, this partial birth abortion, we banned that in West Virginia a few years ago. Well, we banned abortion. But that type of stuff led me away from the party. And I've always tell people that, when I was a Democrat, I would constantly get punished. And when you're at the time I was in the legislature, I was in the House of Delegates. What happens is, if you vote against what the Speaker wants, which is primarily at that time what the Democratic Party wants, you get punished. They would remove me as chairman of the committee, or they would move me into a small office or no office, and then they would punish me. I got tired of getting punished. Hell, I just went ahead and changed. But one guy in the House, got him John Overton from the Panhandle. I think he's the longest serving member of the House. Yeah, John. I saw John the other night. But every time I got punished because I didn't vote the way they wanted me to vote, they wouldn't make me sit beside John. And John was a real conservative Republican. John always gave me a form to switch. Every time John gave me a form, he said, "Mark, just quit taking that punishment. Go ahead and just switch." So when I finally switched, I used one of John's forms. I kept all those forms, and when I switched, I used one of his forms. I switched because it's really who I am. It's who I've always been. It's who I've always voted. And it just doesn't make sense to be a Democrat in this state. It just doesn't make sense. And I don't know who would live under this. I couldn't live under that weight. I feel like a weight is lifted off my shoulders. Folks, I was the Democratic nominee for the United States Congress in 2016. I got 0 vote from it. And the reason why is because I'm not their poster boy for who a Democrat is. And there becomes a time you have to realize you're on the wrong side.
I got a question.
That's an excellent answer. We got time for one more
Was Donna
question.
Bowley still in the Senate?
Yes, she is.
That was the
That's all
time
we
when
can
she
say.
was the only one
There
Republican.
was a time.
She was the head of every subcommittee, minor, what do you call it?
You know how
Ranking member.
there was only one Republican. And so Donna, they made Donna a member of every committee.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so she could, obviously you can't go to every committee because they meet at the same time. She was just able to go to whatever committee she wanted to.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if she wanted to go to finance, she went to finance. She wanted to go to judiciary, she went to
She's
judiciary.
great.
So, but Donna's still around, and Donna is on my side.
Yeah, of course.
As a matter of fact, Donna had a little breakfast for me at St. Mary's just 2 weeks ago. Donna and I are dear friends. As a matter of fact, when Donna was elected to the Senate, I served in the legislature. So I was a staff person. I was a lawyer staff person. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, and you brought this up. My first job out of law school was I was counsel to the state auditor, then Glenn Gaynor. And so for a year, I worked as counsel, and I got to understand and work in all the divisions of the auditor. For instance, this lady that's running against me, she was an auditor at one time for the auditor's office. And she believes that auditing is the whole world in that office. Well, I think I pretty much laid out that auditing is just a piece of that office. The big piece is writing those checks. But auditing is just a piece of that office. But since she was an auditor, she lived within that little world. And she, unlike when I was counsel, I had to solve problems in all of these divisions, is what I did. So I understand how the divisions work. And it's not perfect, it's pretty good. JB's done a pretty good job. Actually, a real good job, but we can do more.
There's one more question.
Did I answer it?
No, but it's okay.
I want to share
Okay.
something with you did not know. None of you here know this, probably. But my friend from college, they all knew that. John L. Lewis, who walked on water in his state, he was had the United Mine Workers for years. He was a Republican.
Oh, yeah.
He was. We checked it out. When he went to the headquarters in Washington, oh, yeah, it was a different party back then. He was going to run against Truman, and Truman, wanted to break the strike and take over the mines.
He had been formidable,
And the Democrats should have known that.
Yeah.
Nobody knew it, but we found out it was.
Well, sometime, I think we all know this, sometime the parties switched. Democrats became Republicans, Republicans became
It
Democrats.
was back to Republican way back.
Yeah, there was
It's kept secret.
the ideas, the platforms kind of switched. And and the Democrat Party, I don't know if they let's
Well, Mark, we really appreciate it, and I wanted to tell you, we give a speech a couple of years ago over at the Raleigh County party, and JB said one of the most glaring things they found when they were doing the auditing of the Supreme Court wasn't that $32,000 couch. What they found was a bill for $120 for a woman's lingerie.
Oh, interesting.
Oh dear.
Well, I don't know.
So we really thank you for coming, and
Appreciate you.
if you want to stay, we'll be glad to have you. But if you want to,
No, I'm gonna stay, and then at the end I got some signs and stuff.
okay, and
Let me get out of your way here, so y'all get back to business.
okay, okay, Ally.
What?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any questions for Ally on the financial report?
No.
Any questions?
I'm ready.
Ally is always ready. Let me tell you, she knows every dime that's come and gone.
She's our auditor.
And I had down the report of the activities of the executive committee. Danny, do you want to speak a word about the dinner?
Yes, we're having a dinner October the 17th at the Quality Inn in Lewisburg. Tickets are $60 each, and it starts at 6:30. And we appreciate your all's consideration.
Who's your speaker?
Someone you already said.
Jay Sekulow Jr.
Yes.
Along to the president.
Can I ask for a correction? I got a notice, an email that said it's 50 for members and 60 for non-members. Is that, are they changing
Yes.
Okay,
$16.50.
so it's 50 for the ones that are members of the club.
No,
No.
No, not club.
no.
The executive
Oh,
committee.
it wasn't
The
clear.
associate membership.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, it's not clear.
it's not
anymore.
clear, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's going to cost me 60, that's all.
Okay.
So I can sell tickets tonight if y'all want to purchase any.
Okay.
Remember what Ally said we had in the way of funds left, and we generally have a Christmas dinner, and this year we've been talking about having a Christmas victory
There
dinner.
you go.
And J.B. McCuskey, who is likely to be our next Attorney General, would love to come and be our speaker. The Dutch House is available on December the 14th, and the question is, what should we charge for the dinner? Because I've looked at what it costs, and the cost is $35 per dinner, $475 for the venue, $20 for the first hour of a bartender, and an hour for further hours, $15 for
15 after that.
15 for after that. And I looked at it, and if we sell 150 tickets, if we sell them at $50, we're likely to make about $2,000, maybe $2,200 on the dinner. If we sell them at $40, we're likely to break even, or maybe might even lose $100 or two. And it's open for discussion on what to do about the cost of the dinner.
What's the maximum? If Trump wins, we're going to have a packed house there.
It's gonna be the.
Is it after the election?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the maximum
That's
capacity?
the The election's November the
Not much
5th.
more.
We're talking about a dinner on December the 14th.
So why don't you charge $55?
Do what?
Charge $55.
We did that with $45 one time, but
Yeah.
It's very
Sure
confusing.
sure makes it difficult bookkeeping to
Yes.
charge $47 for the 47th president. But I'm interested in what your feeling is about making it something more affordable to people. And at this time, the splurge and the economy isn't going to occur before the first of the year anyhow. So,
Still a lot of half and half raffles.
what do you think about the cost?
Silent auction.
Silent auction.
Do we need the extra
I have
money?
lots of stuff for a silent auction.
We've got over $6,100.
I know.
We can afford a couple $100 if we lose it.
I think they should be.
What about the half and half
That
tickets?
doesn't count anything if we have a program and sell some ads in it.
Or if we get membership up a little bit more, if we get new members, I mean, that's 20 to 30 bucks per person.
I want younger people to come.
Absolutely get younger.
Good point.
Well, that's coming up in a few minutes. So,
Charge
what's your
$40.
pleasure? All those in
You say
favor
40.
of $50 cost?
There's a motion made.
Yeah, there's
I bet we charge $40.
I second the motion.
Any other discussion?
I think we don't want to lose money.
Do what?
I think we do not want to lose money intentionally.
But
Well,
we can actually, I mean, Frank, we can actually make that money up. I mean, and most of the dinners that we've had since I've been treasurer, we have not actually lost money. Except when we had to give money back
So
for
if
not
we lose
having.
money, you'll pick up the difference.
Okay, I need your wallet.
Can we not sell half and half tickets to bring more cash to that dinner?
do what?
The tickets, you know,
Half
raffle.
and half.
Half and half.
Yeah,
Club
we
gets
do
half and
that.
We always have a half and half.
Yes, that's added to the $40
Yeah,
per capita.
we are unlikely to lose money, but if we do, it'd be at most $200. We can afford that. I think it's
I think we need to push membership a lot. We need to push membership and we need to maybe see if we can get something going from now until then to, something.
okay. Tom, go ahead.
Can we not do something like maybe $50 tickets for the dinner for individuals and then do like a couples discount, so $80 for two, which would be like 40? Or,
That's
no.
too
That's
complicated.
too complicated.
Too much math work there. Thank you, but no thank you.
Okay.
Back to school for the treasurer.
If there's no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, well, it'll be $40. And the other dinner we've talked about having is to have a consideration for a St. Patrick's Day dinner honoring Governor Patrick Morrissey.
That's cool.
March 17th, which is my birthday, is on a Monday.
So really, it's your birthday party, is that what you're saying?
But the Saturday is available too at the Dutch House Restaurant. And what do you, and Patrick is available to be the speaker for that.
So what's the cost on it?
So what do you think our cost ought to be on that one?
What's it gonna
$100
cost
for
us?
fees.
Brenda did tell us that the cost of the dinners is going to go up after the 1st of January. Whether the cost of the venue goes up, she didn't know.
Let's make that one 50.
But we can think about that one and vote on it later. But what's the tenor of the group on a dinner for the St. Patrick's Day dinner
I say table it.
honoring Patrick Morrison?
Let's just table it.
Welcome to Greenbrier County.
Alex moved to table the discussion, so we will come back to that next month. But be thinking about it. Okay, and now we've come to the last thing in the thing is the nomination of club officers for the 2025-26 term. Our bylaws state that only members in good standing are eligible for offices, and only members in good standing may make nominations. And our bylaws say that a member in good standing is one who has become a member before the September meeting. So there's two lists over there. If you're not sure where you stand, many of us are members for 2024 and 2025 also. But only those who were members prior to the September meeting are eligible for office and are eligible to vote on those offices when we vote on them next month. And all nominations must be made tonight. So we'll entertain nominations for the president of the Republican Club. Boogie?
I would like to nominate a gentleman that's been, first has a pretty nice background for us to even think about. One, he has graduated from WVU Law School. He was in the Fayette County law system for a number of years. He came here and then has been a member of the old school legal counsel team. He's also been with our group for about 3 years, I think, if my figures are right. He also has served as our chaplain for 2 years, and he's done a heck of a job in dealing with the fair booth. And I think I'm very proud to, stand up here and tell you, and it's an honor for me to, and Brent, I understand, has accepted that he would, if he should be, that I want to nominate Brent Thompson for the president of our Greenbrier County Club.
Good.
Are there any other nominations?
Move the nomination be closed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Multiple seconds. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, we need a nomination for the Eastern Magisterial District Vice President.
Yeah. I nominate Robert Trey Holland over here.
Trey came to us early last summer and wanted to become involved with the club, and he's going to speak for himself as to why he wants to do that and what he's been doing.
Well, I wasn't supposed to be here tonight, so I typed up a little bio just in case, but I'm here, so I'll read off that. My name is Robert Holland. I go by Trey. I grew up in Doddridge County, West Virginia, in the small community of Greenwood. I've been a lifelong conservative and West Virginia resident. I credit my interest in politics to my late father, Judge Robert Holland of the Third Circuit. I graduated from West Virginia University in 2011, where I received a Bachelor of Arts. And I'm currently working towards a Master's in Public Administration at Virginia Tech. My professional career has been in the field of oil and gas, where I've worked as a title abstractor for 10 years, and I'm currently employed as an airship researcher. First moved to Greenbrier County in 2020 and spent 2 years serving as deputy assessor for Greenbrier County. Didn't agree with a whole lot of stuff, but I got to meet all the great people that live here, and I can tell you what, this was 2020. There are a lot of conservatives out there. There's a lot of energy, and I know that when we want to make change, we want to make change from the public level. So I think we need to really rally people to come join our cause. Most recently, I served as committee clerk for the Committee on Banking and Insurance, and Committee on Fire Departments and Emergency Services for the 2024 legislative session in Charleston. I now reside in Fort Springs with my wife, and I look forward to getting involved as much as possible and helping out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bernie represents one of the things that we need to be looking at as developing younger people as leaders, and maybe people who can inspire other people to join the club. So are there other nominations for the Eastern Magisterial District? Okay, we'll have them for the Central Magisterial District. That's you. You're gonna nominate me?
Yes, I was getting ready to. Give me a second.
I'm getting anxious.
Do we have to vote on him first?
Yeah.
You have to vote on him first.
Yeah, I second Frank's nomination.
Is there a motion to close the nominations for the magisterial?
move.
Barbara and Jeannie second. Any discussion? All those in favor of closing the nominations, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay.
Okay, are you ready now? Can I do
Yeah,
this?
you got me straightened out again.
Okay, I would like to nominate Doug McKinney for Central VP. He grows on you, I swear. So I think he's done a wonderful job with his clubs. He answers my calls when I'm freaking out over things, and I know that several of us have called him and we've had issues. And he's always there, and I think he does amazing work. I think that he keeps us in check sometimes. So I would love to nominate you, sir.
Well, thank you. Are there other nominations for the Central District?
I think nominations be closed for the Central District.
Seconded.
Mary Hamilton seconded that. All those in favor of closing the nominations for the Central District VP, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we have a problem with the Western District. We don't have an eligible member from the Western District. So I think all we can do for that is, I think we could do one of two things. We could entertain a motion to come back next time and maybe abridge the bylaws.
You have Gordon Campbell.
Who?
Gordon Campbell in the Western District.
Gordon gave us notice that Gordon plans to totally divorce himself from politics for the
Oh,
next.
okay. I've just thought of that.
No, he sent out a letter saying that he did not wish to be considered for office any further. So
dinner. We're 25 tickets away from a sellout, and there's 20 people here tonight that don't have tickets. So that'll make it a sellout of 250. So everybody in here needs to get your tickets. We got them for sale. Would love to have you. It's going to be a whopper. Jordan Sekulow is the speaker, and he is one of the top members of Trump's legal team. So he will be a very exciting speaker. I'm really looking forward to him. And also on Sunday, we're having a Trump rally in Raynell. Been meaning to have it for a while. It's Raynell, as was shown tonight, can be very difficult. Very difficult place to recruit membership. Very difficult place just because it's a very depressed area. But we want to try to bring them a little bit of joy on Sunday. That's going to be Sunday at 3 o'clock. Hope you can make it. Danny and I will be back out there in case you want any merchandise. Get your Trump sign. You get your Trump hat, get your Kamala Harris dog. We got everything you can name. That, believe it or not, the best seller has been Trump golf balls. That's done really well here. So, yes, ma'am.
Tell me about the new Trump watch that they were talking about today.
I want to know about the new Trump sneakers they were talking about today.
Yes, they have that.
They're gold.
These are $16.
Her Trump shoes on.
These are 16. I also have a pair for this year, but I don't like them as well. But they're not the gold ones. I'm after them next.
I think the gold ones are really pretty.
Well,
Those are great.
we don't have sneakers. If we can, Danny, if we can work on that next 2 weeks, that's our next edition here is sneakers and watches. And watches.
You didn't say what you were doing in Raynell
The,
and where at, Ben.
Pardon?
You didn't say what you're doing in Raynell and where.
Oh yeah, so that's 3 o'clock on Sunday. That is right across from City National Bank parking lot. Chris Warner will be there. He's going to be our next Secretary of State. And we're just going to have a little rally with some pepperoni rolls for everybody. Another opportunity for people out there to get some Trump merchandise. Just our kind of a way to reach out to the western end.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
The last thing on our agenda is always for the good of the club. Does anybody have any comments tonight to me?
My name is Jerry Lawford, and this time last year I spent 4 months. I used to be a teacher. I went to the class. Pay attention.
So listen up.
I spent 4 months in South Carolina this time last year. Went to Republican Club meetings in Jasper County, right? And I already know where that is. They have a Republican creed.
This is great.
I've never seen it. I gave you some of it. I'm holding this for almost a year now. I'm going to pass it out. Take it home. Look at the words are fantastic. They say the pledge. And like Greenbrier County, they meet in 2 different locations. The county's about the size of Greenbrier. They alternate, which would be right now here.
Right.
So I'm going to pass it out. Take it home. You know, I do not choose to be a common man are the first words in this. Very interesting creed. So just pass this down. Take one and take it. You know, I don't know if I have enough of it. Take one and pass it down. It is my right to be uncommon. Correct and sentence. If I can seek opportunity, not security, I want to take the calculated risk to dream and build, to fail and to succeed. I refuse to barter incentive for dole. So let's see if we got enough. I don't know where they got it. If we could adopt it, maybe.
I'll need one more.
Y'all say this before their meetings after the pledge. Everybody have a copy? Take a look at that. I love the words. It is terrific. Talk about it later. Thank you.
Somebody else need it?
Maybe someday we can consider it, maybe next year. You read it.
I read it at the headquarters right now. It was awesome.
Okay, Mark, we generally close our meetings, so we traditionally close our meetings with standing and singing God Bless America rather than having a formal adjournment or prayer. So, Ben, since you're here, how would you like to lead us in God Bless America?
Sure.
And if anybody wants merchandise from the store, Danny's gonna be there and we'll be happy to sell some.
Yes, we will. Thank you. Good to see you. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Play ball.
All right. Don't forget to take a few of these brochures and pass them out to your friends. Thank you all for coming. Thank you. Appreciate it.